I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted and then you get a pay cut with it. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. So,
hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. You just saw that clip. Pretty unbelievable, right? We'll watch the full exchange in a moment, but honestly, that short moment says everything about how disconnected some leaders in Washington can be from everyday reality. Let's be real. Hearing Ilhan Omar lecture anyone on business operations, pay structure, or workplace accountability is almost comical. This is a lawmaker who has repeatedly faced public scrutiny and controversy, yet here she is questioning a business owner on principles that most Americans understand firsthand. That's not leadership, that's contradiction. Ilhan Omar has built a public brand criticizing the systems that helped fuel her own success. A country that opened its doors, provided opportunity, and elevated her platform. Yet her rhetoric increasingly sounds less like appreciation and more like opposition to the basic values that keep the economy functioning, things like responsibility, performance, and self-discipline. Today we're going to break down this interaction and explain why it perfectly illustrates the widening gap between Washington-level ideology and everyday American reality. Before we jump in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because this is a perspective you won't see honestly discussed anywhere else. Now, let's roll the full clip. What you're about to see is a perfect example of how real-world experience cuts through political posturing.
Representative O'Neill, I'm just wondering, as a union member for a long time, and I've also gotten an opportunity to work in the private sector, and I'm curious to know if you know of any employer that has a provision where they decrease pay for employees. I find that a little strange, and so I just wanted to know where that thought comes from, and if you know where an employee gets their pay decreased.
Representative O'Neill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I was a business owner. I recently sold my share, so I don't own it anymore, but there are plenty of businesses out there, especially those that depend on employees' productivity, like I was in the trades. So I owned a company that was a tile setting company, and if we didn't get out there and do the work, and if I didn't have highly productive employees, they were paid based on their productivity. So if they had issues, it is very possible that their pay would reflect those issues. If they were on probation for something, for some sort of violation, that could be coordinated with a pay reduction. It's something that businesses do all the time, and it could be the step before someone is actually fired. So it's an important thing, and it gets people's attention, when they see it in their paycheck that their performance does not meet the standard.
Representative Omar.
Hudson, I think, did you have something?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Hudson. Was there a question for Mr. Hudson?
No, I think he was saying that he wanted to add something, so I didn't know if he had something to add.
Mr. Hudson, is there a response to the question? Do you have a response to that question?
Madam Chair, yes, ma'am.
Are you saying that you aren't aware of any businesses that decrease pay? Because that was the question.
Madam Chair, I think what Chair O'Neill perhaps could be referring to, there are some instances where the pay structure is different. So for example, she had indicated that she had come out of the towel industry. I'm not sure if these were commissioned employees who may have been on like an 80-20 split. In that instance, there is a situation where a pay might be reduced. Or if we have a supervisor who perhaps had a performance improvement issue or a behavioral concern, and we demoted this supervisor, that is an instance where pay might be decreased. But just an employee who has not been under some sort of performance improvement program having their pay reduced, I've never heard of that.
Well, Mr. Hudson, I think Representative Neal knows exactly what she says. And I think we've had a little conversation back here when the question was asked. I know Representative Uglum, do you want to speak to that point?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Omar, if you happen to be a salesman in this world, and you could be selling cars, you could be selling siding, you could be selling just about anything, and you are paid on commission. So if you don't sell anything, you don't make anything. So you can have good years, you can have bad years. Probably really one of the best examples is a real estate agent. So it's the idea that people can make less money year to year, not to mention all the bonus situations that are out there in industry. It happens. It happens a lot. It doesn't necessarily happen, here in the public sector, but it's pervasive and very, very common in the private sector. Thank you.
And I'd like to add that in the private sector as well, people, if they are not performing at their job, get demoted, and with that demotion comes a pay cut. And that's not even related to being in a commission position, that's just in a regular position as well. Representative Omar.
I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted and then you get a pay cut with it. So I just want to make sure that that's clear.
All right, let's unpack what you just saw, because this exchange deserves a real close look. Ilhan Omar begins with a question so disconnected from workplace reality that it almost defies belief. She asks, "Do you know of any employer that has a policy where they decrease pay for employees?" She calls that idea strange. Strange? Really? Anyone who has worked in a performance-based environment knows exactly how this can happen. Her question reveals a worldview where accountability rarely enters the equation, where outcomes seem guaranteed regardless of effort or results. But that's not how the economy works and never has. Then comes Representative Barb O'Neill, and the contrast couldn't be clearer. Calm. Experienced. Straightforward. No theatrics. She explains something millions of workers already know. If performance drops, if rules are broken, or if probation is necessary, pay can change. That's accountability, not punishment. And in most industries, it's normal. Representative Hudson adds that when a manager fails, they don't keep their salary, they get demoted. And Representative Uglum uses the perfect example, sales. Real estate, automotive, commission-based industries, income is directly tied to results. Sell more, earn more. Sell less, earn less. That's merit. This entire exchange showcases two competing philosophies in America today. One view, where effort matters, results matter, and consequences are real. The other, where outcomes are assumed, risk is minimized, and accountability is unfamiliar. And that difference matters. This wasn't just a viral moment. It was a reminder of how far removed some lawmakers are from the realities that business owners and workers live every day. We need leaders who have actually hired people, signed paychecks, managed performance, and know what earning a living looks like outside government. What do you think? Was Omar simply out of touch? Or does this reflect a deeper disconnect in Washington? Drop your thoughts below, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell, because we're just getting started breaking down double standards and defending common sense.